My son Charlie is an absolute addict of pesto, and lucky I've got a squillion billion basil plants. So I'm going to make pesto with the chicken, sun-dried tomato and wagon wheels. Let's go. First up, we're making the pesto. There is a skill and an art to making pesto and knowing when to put each ingredient in. I did learn how to make pesto in Liguria. Sounds a bit wanky, doesn't it? but in Liguria. The thing is though, they're so fussy. They say, oh, you must get your basil from Prague, your pine nuts from Pisa, and your Parmesan or your Parmigiano-Reggiano and your pecorino from blah, 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 blah. So, you know, I've got all mine from Foodland. So perhaps not quite the same.
The next best thing.
Next best thing. So I'm just trying to pick off like the big leaves. And how many leaves? Well, that depends on how pesto-y, how basil-y you like your pesto. I like mine pretty basil-y. You can make pesto out of a whole raft of things. I know a lot of people that make it out of rocket. I'm a bit of a purist though. Charlie would not accept a pesto made with rocket. I can tell you that right now. It doesn't matter if you get a few little stems in there. It is what it is, all right? This should be the last lot of basil. So it's really, really good if you've got like a ton of basil left over at the end of the season. Just make a ton of pesto. Keep it in your fridge. So the first thing you do is you pulsate, grind up your pine nuts, and I don't toast them. I leave them as is. And if you're using garlic, it is a choice. I do. It gives it a level of flavour. I know you've all worked out I'm an absolute garlic fiend. Squeeze that on in. The basil, the pine nuts, and the garlic in, okay? And now we do. Hear that? How it stopped going. That's enough. Look at that. See how it's all grainy? Next up, we add our cheese. We start the processor going and we drizzle in 100 mils of oil. Oh, that smell. Also important to add a tiny little bit of salt. Not too much because you've got a lot of Parmesan and salty cheese in there. Let's have a look. Oh yeah, look at that. Might need to scrape down the sides a little, give it another whiz. Make sure all that yumminess is in it. Yeah, look at that. Yeah, there's some leaves that have sort of stuck themselves to the side there. I don't want to waste any of those valuable leaves. Yes, that's ready. Oh my God, that smell. Important thing to do. Taste your pesto. Oh my God. Oh. You got to feel it back there. You got to feel it back there. Okay. Next up, we're going to put the pasta, wagon wheels, in the pot. Why wagon wheels? Good question. Because all those little holes, the sauce goes inside them. I'm a fan. Hey Siri. This get every time she lets me down. Hey Siri, 10 minutes. So whilst that pasta is cooking, now you've seen how quick the pesto was to make, right? If you can't be tossed or you don't have basil, there are heaps of pestos out there in the supermarket that you can use, all right? Pasta's gonna take 10 minutes, which gives us enough time to make the sauce. Well, I've got 2 chicken breasts, well 1.5 really. I'm gonna cut them into bite-sizey pieces, all about mouthfeel. Very important. Don't ever forget the importance of how big your slices are. Because you need to have an equal amount of protein with your pasta and the rest of your ingredients. So if you're going to have like big chunks of chicken and you put that in your mouth with the pasta, how are you going to taste the pasta? Okie dokie. So we Put on our heat. Don't forget to give your pasta a stir. Bit of olive oil. Not too much. A little bit of butter. I also like to salt and pepper my chicken before I cook it. Let it soak in a bit here. Wait till that gets to a reasonably warm temperature. You don't want the butter to burn, so I might stick the chicken in there before it gets too hot. So we want a bit of sizzle. Oh, yum. There's something very special about using a little bit of butter. Just adds that umami.
That got me.
It went on me. So I just keep working that chicken around. And we're just going to keep it going until it all gets a nice sort of goldeny brown colour. I let it sit for a bit. As I say to my kids, cooking involves patience. So don't try and cook things quickly, thinking high heat, get it done, it'll do it quicker. No, just screws it up. You're better off using a lower temperature and letting things take their time. You don't want them to stew, but you also don't want them to cook too quickly. So when it gets to about this stage, that's when we're going to add our sun-dried tomatoes, and I'm just going to chop them lengthways, like this. Woo! In fact, you could probably just add a lot of them like they are. No, a little bit, the thicker ones, make them a little bit thinner. There we are. Pop those in. That's going to give it a little bit of colour. Yum. Now bear in mind, we are going to put the pasta in here with a little bit of the pasta water and then add the pesto. So that chicken's going to keep cooking. So I'm not going to let it cook completely right now. The rest of the process will involve the chicken cooking a bit more. Okay, how are we going here? Oh, they're good. What I like to do is to get my thing out of there, remove the pasta from the water a couple of minutes before it's cooked, right? Because it's going to finish off its cooking in the pan. And really that ratio is probably about right. Soak up all those chickeny tomatoes. Look at that. Look how that pasta's mopped up all that sauce that was on the bottom. Don't throw out your pasta water, by the way, because that is like gold stock. Alrighty, our pesto goes in. Oh my God, look at this. This is about to become a sensational smelling dish. Pour some of the pasta water in here to loosen up that sauce. Pour that in. Don't want to waste any. That'll help the pesto sort of move through the pasta. Kids will love this, I promise you, because it's just all of those amazing flavours that kids love. Great kid dish. How long did that take? And imagine if you had already made pesto. That's a 10-minute dinner. By the time you cook the pasta, your sauce is ready. There we go. The only other thing I'm going to do to that is add some grated cheese. Oh, some curls of Parmigiano-Reggiano. And those little leaves I've got left, I'm just going to pop those in, and they're going to look like little sweet little micro herbs that you pay $72 a kilo for in the fruit and veg shops. There we go. Basil, pesto and chicken wagon wheels. Okay, truth's in the tasting. Let's see. Oh my God. I'm pretty happy with that. Oh man, it's so good. It just all works. And that's what? How many ingredients? Pesto, chicken, sun-dried tomato, bit of cheese. Bon appetito.